Baseball is finally back underway, which means fantasy baseball is back underway as well. The absolutely horrid weather in the Northeast has potentially made it challenging to navigate your lineup with various postponements, but the weather didn't bother Bryce Harper at all Tuesday night.
Yeah, let's hook deep to right center field. No doubt about it. A three-homer game. He caps it off with a grand slam.
But obviously, Bryce Harper isn't available in your league. He was probably drafted by someone in the second round or so. Luckily for us, there's impactful players outside of the first few rounds. Today, I'll be giving you 8 players to pick up in 2024 Fantasy Baseball. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all things 2024 Fantasy Baseball and comment your thoughts or opinions. Let's get on to the video. I'm going to run through these players pretty quick as we're early in the season and there's just not a whole lot to say about them. It's such a small sample size. But they are 8 guys I'm interested in or that you should at least keep an eye on. I'll be naming the players in decreasing order per their rostered percentage in CBS Fantasy Baseball. That being said, first up on the list is Zach Littell, a 28-year-old who has been in various organizations throughout his career, but has seemingly found a home in Tampa with the Rays. He's a starting pitcher and was selected off waivers by the Rays last May, ended up starting 14 games for them along with some bullpen work where he posted a sub-4 ERA. He started the 3rd game of the season for the Rays this year, picking up a win against the Blue Jays, going 6 scoreless, allowing 4 hits, walking 2, and striking out 6. It's so early in the season, and the sample size is literally 1 start, but he pitched well in that start. Last year, he was in the top 1% of the league in walk percentage, but his issue was he didn't strike out many batters, so it's good to see that in his first start, he was able to fan 6 of them. He's owned in 66% of leagues, a number that is increasing, so if you're interested in him, you're going to want to jump on him now, assuming he's available in your league. Next up is starting pitcher Jordan Hicks, which sounds really weird to say, and that's because Hicks has been a reliever for his whole career outside of 8 starts in 2022, but with the Giants now, he's trying his hand at the starting pitcher position. And in his first start, he did pretty good, pitching 5 scoreless innings, allowing just 3 hits, walking 1 batter, and striking out 6. The concern with Hicks throughout his entire career as a reliever was despite being able to reach high velocities, he's had extremely bad control issues. Those could potentially persist, and then the Jordan Hicks starter experiment could fail. He's rostered in 56% of leagues, so you may have to make a decision quickly if you're going to add him to your team. Personally, I'm going to take a look at him just because I've had some injuries and don't have very good starters right now, so I'm going to give him a chance on my team. A quick note on all of these players. Early season pickups have their positives and negatives when we're comparing them to pickups later in the season. Switching over to fantasy football, a player like Puka Nacua this year was probably available in your league after week 1, and whoever added him got a top receiver without spending any draft capital. Later in the season, we'll have much larger sample sizes, but those huge impact players like a Puka Nacua this year in football will likely be gone. That being said, what I'm trying to say is trust your gut on a player you think is going to be really good, so that way you get him before it's too late. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel for all things 2024 Fantasy Baseball because I'll be giving you players like that. Next up is Oswaldo Cabrera, a player with outfield and third base eligibility for the New York Yankees. Cabrera is off to a hot start this season as he's been in the lineup for all 7 games, at third base for 6 of them, and shortstop for 1, so he may eventually gain eligibility there too. As for his stats, he's batting .409 with 2 home runs, 7 RBI, and 4 runs scored. A little background on Cabrera, he burst on the scene late in the 2022 season with an impressive month of August, earning himself an opening day lineup spot last season, only to squander it with abysmal play. The door opened up for a roster spot this year after injuries to DJ LeMahieu and top prospect Oswald Peraza, who I frequently confuse with Oswaldo Cabrera considering they have such similar first names, in addition to Cabrera having a phenomenal spring. He's continued that hot start from spring training, and Cabrera could be one of those guys I just talked about. I'm not saying he's going to be a top player in fantasy baseball this year, but if he's starting every day in a loaded Yankees lineup, he's going to benefit tremendously. Being that he's rostered in 55% of leagues, he won't be available for very long, so if he is a guy that you like I do, you're probably going to want to jump on him right now. Next up is another outfielder in the AL East, it's Jose Siri. Siri is the everyday center fielder for the Rays, and while he hasn't played like an MVP through the first 6 games of the season, he's put up some decent numbers. Monday night, he impressed when he went 2 for 3 with a home run and a double against the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. Siri was definitely under the radar last year with 25 home runs and a near .500 slugging percentage. He's got 3 stolen bases so far this season after just a total of 12 last year, meaning he may be tapping into the stolen base potential we know is there, considering he's in the 98th percentile in sprint speed. He's also a phenomenal fielder, meaning his defense will keep him in the lineup getting at bats. I'm not going to act like he's a must-add player and he's going to be amazing, but if you believe in the power and speed potential like I do, definitely consider picking him up. He's rostered in 35% of leagues. Next, we got Bryce Turang, who is a middle infielder for the Milwaukee Brewers, rostered in 33% of leagues. Turang currently leads Major League Baseball in stolen bases with 6. Stolen bases are a game changer for fantasy baseball. They've become much more prevalent thanks to the rule changes last year, aiding NL MVP Ronald Acuna Jr. in his 73 stolen bases. If you have a few base stealers on your team, like maybe Turang and Siri, you're going to have a good shot at winning the stolen base category each week if you play in a categories league. Stolen bases might be even more beneficial in a points league where a guy like Jarren Duran is a top 12 outfielder right now as he's tied with Turang at 6 stolen bases. Steals are meaningful and Turang provides you with them. He's also 7 for 14 this season, giving him a .500 batting average. He needs to improve as a hitter this year, but when he's on base, he's very dangerous, no doubt about that. The final 3 guys I'm going to run through even quicker maybe, as they're more guys you should just keep an eye on and not necessarily must-adds. First up is Brandon Marsh, and the reason you're going to want to keep an eye on him is because the Phillies are foolishly platooning him in this weird 4-man rotation between center field and left field with him, Whit Merrifield, Christian Pache, and Johan Rojas. Pache is more of a bench player, but Marsh, Merrifield, and Rojas are certainly splitting time, causing Marsh to start in 3 of the Phillies' first 5 games. Even still, Marsh is quickly proving that he's the best of the trio, as he's homered twice now in limited at-bats. Similar to Siri, he's a great defender with good speed, so he's got the tools to play every day. I'm a Phillies fan and I like Johan Rojas as much as the next guy, but it's obvious at this point in their careers, Rojas should not be cutting into Marsh's playing time at all, something that hopefully Rob Thompson and the Phillies will soon be forced to realize. Marsh is rostered in 23% of leagues, so he's another guy you don't have to grab immediately, but be aware that if he becomes an everyday player, his value is going to skyrocket. If you have a large bench, it'd be wise to get ahead of the curve and stash him for now. I'll give you another Philly and then a Pirate before the end of this video, but as for the Philly, it's starting pitcher Spencer Turnbull. He's rostered in under 10% of leagues, and that's because he wasn't expected to make much of an impact, but an injury to Taijuan Walker quickly thrust him into the Phillies' rotation, and in his first start Tuesday, he silenced the Cincinnati Bats, going 5 innings, allowing 0 earned runs, 3 hits, no walks, and striking out 7, collecting a win. Similar to everyone in this video, it's an extremely small sample size, of course, but an impressive outing nonetheless against the Reds lineup that had scored at least 6 runs in each of their games to that point. People were very high on Christopher Sanchez this season, higher than I think the Phillies themselves were. When Taijuan Walker comes back, somebody will have to move to the bullpen between Sanchez and Turnbull. Turnbull has come into the bullpen once in his career, whereas Sanchez did it 12 times for the Phillies in 2022. If Turnbull continues to impress, he could find himself solidified in the Phillies' rotation. But for now, just keep an eye on him. Lastly, we have Connor Joe, first baseman / outfielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Bucks have come out like gangbusters to start the season, and you can attribute some of their success to leadoff hitter Connor Joe. He's rostered in just 11% of leagues and is batting .348 with 5 runs batted in and 7 runs scored. He's also walked 3 times and has 4 doubles. His first base and outfield eligibility are useful, and his solid start to the season has earned him a mention in this video. So there you have it, 8 players to pick up for 2024 Fantasy Baseball. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment with your suggestions, thoughts, or opinions. Keep it locked here for all things 2024 Fantasy Baseball, where we will have weekly videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.